So as you may all know, on 4th of August 2026, an Air India A320 aircraft flew from Phuket to New Delhi, India. And what made this aircraft different and special is it had a dip. Suddenly the aircraft just descended 91 meters. Now, recent report which came out yesterday suggested that the pilots were under the influence of marijuana. So all these media companies, BBC, they went mental. They were posting about this, and I feel like that's not the full picture. That's why I'm trying to do this video, to make sure you understand how an air accident investigation works, and this is just a contributing factor to the actual events that occurred that night. Hi there, if you don't know me, my name is Dino Galwatta and I'm an aeronautical engineer / founder of AeroLaunch, which is an aviation consultancy that helps students to find education and professionals to find aviation jobs, and also doing professional training for airlines, MROs and universities. I know I just started out on YouTube, but I got 10 years of experience as an aeronautical engineer, and I've been featured on New York Post, Greater Van Sastran Show, Asian Voice, and also mainstream media companies in Sri Lanka. I've also been a guest lecturer for schools at Nila University, KDU, Defence University of Sri Lanka, and also I'm a student mentor for the University of Brighton. I want to request a small favor from you. Whoever watches this video, 89.2 out of you haven't subscribed to my channel, so it would make my whole life different if you would subscribe and show some support, so I can bring more videos like this, bring my technical knowledge and also the regulatory knowledge through this channel. So without further ado, let's get to the video. So before I start this video, I want to make it clear, I'm in no way justifying the actions of the pilots of that Air India aircraft. They shouldn't have been under the influence of marijuana. You know, somebody becomes a pilot because they have that love for it and the passion for it. And there are some things that you need to sacrifice when you choose this career. In aviation, you are dealing with 200, 300 people. So you cannot be under influence of anything, and Air India took the right decision of doing a spot drug check on all their airline pilot staff. And I see these news articles and tabloids stating the same thing. Air India pilots under the influence of marijuana, and this might be the cause of the dip. You can't say that, because I feel like the pilots were in the wrong aircraft at the wrong time. Because yes, pilots under the influence of marijuana might be a contributing factor to the dip. Because if you look at the flight path, they were not at the takeoff phase or landing phase, they were at the cruise phase. Usually an A320 at cruise phase will be on autopilot, and accident investigators will look into all factors that might have given or contributed to this dip. They need to create a full picture of all the events that happened that night from the takeoff to the landing. So basically they will look into what happened before the dip, what happened during this dip, and what happened right after this dip. They will look into voice recording. What were the pilot conversations like? Were they extremely affected by the marijuana, or were they at a conscious state to fly the aircraft? They will look into all of these things. They will look into autopilot disengagings, and they will look into flight controls. They will look at the system to understand why the dip happened. Okay, and next they will look into weather conditions. Was there any clear air turbulence or any sudden change of vertical air movements? So these factors will contribute to that dip that we are all talking about. They will also look into the company. Why were these pilots under the influence of marijuana? Is it because of the workload? Is it like very stressful? Do they have to work long hours? They look into this company culture as well, because they need to identify what actually went wrong. Because this is not the first time sudden drop down in altitude happened. It injured passengers. There have been a lot of other incidences due to weather phenomena and also due to human error that there have been these dips. So accident investigators has to identify the full chain of event that occurred that night. It's not just the marijuana. Marijuana is a contributing factor. They are not going to forget about that, but they still need to ascertain what happens to the machine. Okay, and after they ascertain what happens to the machine, then they will provide recommendations to make sure that this won't happen again. Right off the bat, this gives a strong message to the regulators as well as airlines to make sure that you have strict alcohol and drug use policies within your companies, and you are using them to test pilots, because here we are not driving a car on the road. Here we are carrying around 200 to 300 people at around 32,000 feet. So we need to make sure that our staff are competent and they know what they're doing, and these needs to be tested as well to identify and mitigate these things from happening again. A good movie that comes to my mind is The Flight. If you can remember, Denzel Washington, he was the captain in charge of that flight. He was under the influence of alcohol, and there was some trouble with the flight controls, and he had to invert the aircraft, and at the last minute he has to turn back the aircraft and land. And these things we only see in movies, and now it happens in real life. It is very scary. This also sends a strong message to us passengers to wear the seat belts at all times, because 17 of the passengers and crew members got injured during this event. So this concludes my video. I just don't wanted you to come to a conclusion saying, oh, they had drugs in the system, that's why the dip happened. But air accident investigators will need more time to ascertain what really happens, and they will provide the required recommendations. And obviously, if the second test comes positive for the pilot, the accident investigators will put them as a causal factor that contributed to this incident. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I talk about carriers in aviation, regulation and airworthiness within this channel, and hope you'll enjoy and hope you'll support me on my journey.